Like, I wonder if this will return, right? If there's a world in which these brands like move away from fast fashion and say, you know, we do sell these really cool fabrics and like we encourage you to make your own pieces. All right, so this is really part one of setting up my sewing studio. I have bigger plans for the space down the line, but the goal right now is to get it into a functional space. I have been moving, and so I haven't had a place to really sew or to create. I knew that this was gonna be my sewing studio, but then it had like water damage. There were a lot of things that happened that I had to get to first before I could actually even organize this space. Then I was like, okay, we're gonna, you know, I got the water damage taken care of. We painted the place, we cleaned the place. I'm like, I'm ready. We're gonna start setting this up. And then I got super sick. I got like the worst cold. I know that there's something going around. I know that there's been a bunch of us that have been sick. I'm like super congested still, but I kind of went down for like 2.5 weeks, just really couldn't even like get up. And so I didn't even go home for Christmas. Like I was supposed to go to New York for Christmas and like I didn't even go home for Christmas because I was so sick. And so I definitely didn't set up the space as I'd intended. That all means that I am a little behind on something that's really important, which is sewing my look for the Bad Bunny concert. And not just my look for the Bad Bunny concert, but my sister and my cousin's looks, because I made a lot of promises and so now I have to like keep them. So I have a lot of sewing to do and I'm starting to get anxious about like not having started, but my brain, like I just can't work if I don't have like a designated space for something and if there's clutter. Like I just can't function with clutter. And so I was like, all right, today in this week of like in between Christmas and New Year's where like, you know, the world has kind of gone into a black hole, let me set up my studio space, let me get on top of it so that I can start these looks and my family doesn't disown me. The plan is pretty simple today. We're gonna declutter this. That's the first thing. Put the tools in the right place, put the things in the cart, etc., etc., etc. We're gonna clean the place, give it a good old mop, a good old vacuum. There are scorpions potentially in here, there are spiders in here. Like this is el campo, okay? So like there's some cleaning to be done. Once that's done, then I think I can start to sort of figure out like how I want to lay it out. Yeah, so let me declutter, let me clean, and then let me figure out like where I want to organize things in this room. Also, I realized that if you haven't been watching my moving videos, you haven't seen the space yet. So I just want to show it to you really quickly. This is the studio. We share it with the washer and drying room, and I have a table over here where I'm potentially going to do my sewing station. Eventually I need to get a smaller table, but for now, that's the table I have. And you can kind of see here, it's in really nice condition because we just painted the whole room. And yeah, so and this is my cutting table, which opens up, and it has some storage space in there. So that is what we are working with, and we're gonna declutter, organize the room, etc. Make it look a little less like whatever it is now. I'm like really allergic to dust, so I've like taken an Allegra, which is like an antihistamine, and I'm gonna wear a mask. But the idea here is to take out all of the things that don't belong in here first. So that's what I'm doing. I've already moved out some of the stuff, and I am going to take, there's like a little window thing here that was here that like I don't want. I'm gonna give it to my uncle, but I've already started sort of cleaning the trash out here and taking some of this stuff out. So just gonna keep all the stuff in here that actually belongs in the sewing room. Okay, I'm gonna start with this box, which is probably the one I'm the most worried about in terms of potential spiders. Like, I don't know, it's been sitting around in the corner for a minute. I did kill a spider just now when I was getting it out of the table. So I'm like, what if it laid eggs in here? Which is not the craziest thing ever because I did have a situation with spiders laying eggs in this room. So, okay. But anyway, I figure let me just organize this cart. And that way, this is usually where I keep all of my little things like this. Like these are I don't know what these things are called, for like corsets and stuff. You know, all of my little notions, basically, elastics, all of that goes here. So I think in my like threads and stuff, I do have to figure out a better, different way to do like the threads. But I think that for the sake of just today, I'm just gonna keep using the same thing I've been using up until now. So I'm gonna organize this first and then get this box out of the way. If you can believe it, this took me like 40 minutes because I had to dust everything and organize it and throw things out and throw things out of the bins and clean the bins and etc. But this is what I call, like, this is my workhorse right here. So this is what I use for mostly all my projects. So it's good to have everything handy. Okay, I'm organizing like my buttons, and look at this box of vintage buttons that my mother-in-law gave me. Aren't these so cool? These actually belonged to her mom. So my husband's grandma Pat, she was so sweet. She passed away now a couple years ago, and she was a sewer. So she used to make all of her own outfits, and she collected like all of these little buttons, and some of them are so unique, and you know, you never even know what time periods they're from because she sewed like her whole life, you know? So there's just like a lot of history here, and it's beautiful. I love stuff like this. So thinking about you, Grandma Pat. Another really cool thing she told me was, you know, that Macy's, like on 34th, New York, it used to have like a whole floor of fabric. So like it was, and look, a little cookie basket, a little cookie box. I love it. Okay, so Macy's on 34th Street, like that, there was a whole floor where it was just fabrics. And so designers would sell, like, obviously the outfits that you could order through catalogs, but they would also sell fabrics. So you would like go and like buy fabrics there on the second floor, or like one of the floors of the store. And I just think that's so interesting. And I wondered, like, if, because there's like a more recent push for people, I think, to consume more intentionally, and there's been like an uptick, I think, in people trying to, like me, learn how to make their own clothes. Like, I wonder if this will return, right? If there's a world in which these brands like move away from fast fashion and say, you know, we do sell these really cool fabrics, and like we encourage you to make your own pieces. Because I could really see that for some brands. I could see some brands saying, you know what, like, yes, we sell this. We also sell the bolts like of fabric, like Anthropologie could do something like that. I don't know. I just feel like it would be interesting for big stores to consider that in the future as we move, hopefully, toward a world of more sustainable circular fashion. Because you could also take your dead stock. You could, right, like there's a lot of ways that you could incorporate this, I hope, into business models. But of course, it's like dependent on us as consumers, right? Like on us saying, hey, like we're actually not purchasing fast fashion anymore. So like, you know, but we will buy some fabric if you have it, especially now that your hands are closed. Anyway, tangent, but yes, these beautiful buttons. Okay, progress report. So we have organized all of the fabric scraps and all of the rest of the fabric stash. It is in there. I put away my quilting machine. I also put away some of like my extra sort of bigger notions, like interfacing, things like padding or wadding, all of that I kind of stuffed in there. And as you can tell, this is like pretty messy. I actually probably should have gotten a table that had like a little extra like section. But honestly, this one keeps me a little more honest because it is easier to sort of take everything out and clean it out. But anyway, it does look kind of like not the nicest. So I did this in Bogota. I'm going to do it again here. I have this tension rod, this like extension tension rod. And then what I'm going to do is put it across here. And I have these little almost like curtains that I made. And this is something, again, I did in Bogota, but I'm gonna just carry it out here. And I only have it on one side because I don't think that you can really see the other one. You definitely couldn't see it when the table was down, but I think I'm gonna leave the table open. So I do think that maybe I should consider making another one for the other side. But for now, we're gonna use this one and hopefully it'll look a lot nicer. Okay, we're ready for a clean, okay? Everything is pretty cleaned up over here. So we're gonna do a full-on vacuum and then a mop. I'm actually also gonna mop with this citronella. I was told that using this on the floors prevents scorpions. I've killed like 7 scorpions like since we moved here, which worries me because I did hear they come in pairs, so I'm like, where's the 8th one? But I'm gonna put this on the floor and potentially on the windows and hopefully prevent scorpions. I mean, it's part of like the deal, like again, living out here, it's gonna happen. That's why I wear shoes everywhere, but anyways, hopefully it'll help. I'm also gonna vacuum under this table, under that table really well because yeah, spiders. There are various ways for them to enter here, and spiders are smart. Like they'll start to realize like where you're being active. So just having like a really good vacuuming routine is usually enough for them to be like, all right, that's your space, we'll have our space. Like I'm trying to cohabitate here. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna do a little clean, and then after that, it's really just about setting up my machine and lamp and my rug, and then that's like gonna be really it for now. So let's do it. Okay, I have cleaned out the back table here. As you can tell, this is pretty big. I am gonna use it like as my sewing table. I'm gonna put my sewing machine closest to here, but I don't love the size. My plan eventually is to have somebody help me cut this thing in half so we can make like 2 kind of desks, sort of, one that's like a little bit wider and one that's a little bit shorter, and I would probably use the shorter one in here. And so like, because I like that, I like a kind of like a narrow table for my machine because my machine's not that big, and I kind of like to have something up against the wall where I can control the fabric. I can't explain it to you, but I just do like a narrower machine. So I feel like if I was able to cut this, right, and like create something that was sort of like up to here, it would be perfect. I would be able to put my machine, my serger, and then my sewing chair, and then that's really it. Then it wouldn't take up too much space, and I could move my cart over there. I like to have it close to me when I'm sewing. Or I could do something else, but regardless, sort of like open up the space a little bit. So that's my plan, but for now, we're just using this table. And also it's like a little damaged. I'll show you in a second. It's kind of scratched up. I think they were using this sort of like an ironing and slash folding table. So it's just got a little beat up. They did leave this here, so I think it's like a really nice table for them to have left here, the owners, the past owners. So yeah, let's set up my little sewing section slash table, and then we're pretty much done. We're gonna put down the rug and the lamp and then see how it looks. Okay, I decided to put the little circle lamp I have here and move this little lamp over there because this one is cuter. So hold on, I don't think you can really see it, and it's kind of light out now, but behind it's cute. Trust me, I'm gonna show you when it's nighttime, okay? Trust the process. Also, like I mentioned, I moved this little lamp over here, and hopefully, that helps me when I'm like cutting and stuff. Again, not a lot of light in here, but I think that these two, this one and this one at night, will really make a difference. For some reason, the lights here don't work. I'm not sure if it's like I don't know. Problem for another day. Electricity and the sockets works, so it's something, I guess, for when I'm sewing at night. Okay, the next thing that we have to do is put down the rug, okay? I've had this rug a long time. It's like a Turkish style rug. It's not really like my super style anymore. Like when I first got it, I was like using it more in the home, but now it's really just become like my studio rug. I love it because it is flat and large, so I can tuck it into like underneath the tables, etc., and it doesn't move. And also it's easy to clean because I can like pick it up pretty much and hand wash it or vacuum it, etc. It is a good studio rug for this specific purpose. So I'm gonna put this down and then really that's it. Then I'll show you the final sort of look for this part one of my studio. Okay, and we are done with setting up the studio part one. There's obviously still a lot to do. There's a table stuff to do, there's decorations to go up. Maybe I wanna get some sort of rack up here to put like things, I don't know. There are things that I want to do on the wall. I still haven't been able to put my little, I don't know what those things are called, pegboards, because I lost the screws. So I don't know. I have to find those and figure out how to put those up for more of my tools and make it look a little more studio-y, you know? I also would like eventually to clean up this laundry area. The laundry machine does go in here, and currently I have like my stand for the iron, although that does need a cover, so I need to get a cover for that or make one. And, I want to get maybe some shelves or something to organize the laundry materials for it not to look as messy. Maybe cover up some of those cables, I don't know. But for now, this is looking good. Let me give you a final walkthrough of the studio. All right, everybody, that is part one of setting up the studio. If you want to follow along with this studio renovation and setup, like and subscribe. And I'm also going to have some other sewing content coming up soon because, like I mentioned, I have quite a bit of sewing to do for a Bad Bunny concert in like 2 weeks. So that's coming up. And I'm also trying to do a couple of home sewing projects because my mom is coming to visit and I want to make sure the house looks a little more together. So looking forward to that. Bye.